Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report, brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/Opperman Report. Get yourself a free audiobook. Tonight, live on CJ Mars Radio, 365 Live, hazyradio.com, and on, we just, for the first time ever, we're not live, but we're going to be on iHeartRadio. This show will be the first new broadcast that will be found on iHeartRadio on the Opperman Report channel on good old iHeartRadio, but also PowerX Radio Saturday night 7 p.m. and rebroadcast throughout the week on awakeradio.us, Shake and Wake with Rick and Annie, firehorseradio.com, WTRU Radio on Saturdays, and Penny Entertainment on Blog Talk Radio on Saturday afternoons. Now tonight our first guest is the Reverend Edward Pinkney, who, by the way, came to us from our sponsors, the New World Mexican Women. And we got to keep these New World Mexican women in prayer because they're from that town there in southern Mexico called Guerrero. And that's that town where there were just 43 kidnapped students. And the police chief, it's some kind of police-backed kidnapping of these students involved in a drug gang. And the mayor and the police chief have all fled town and stuff like that. And the people are rising up there, and they actually burned down a city building. 500 people were demonstrating. After Reverend Pinkney, we have Derek Revies from Film the Police Minneapolis, and maybe we'll even get a call from Mike Bluehair from Film the Police Portland, because I know he's trying to get down to back to Ferguson. He's trying to raise funds to get down there. But we got the Reverend Pinkney with us now. Reverend, are you there?
Yes, I am, and thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you, please.
Who's calling, Reverend, right in the middle of my show?
I have no idea, but I tell you one thing: it won't happen again, because I tell you, we cannot have anybody interrupting our show.
Wait, Rev, is that the bail bondsman calling up, checking up on you?
Well, you said the right word, the bail bondsman, because that's a story that people need to know about. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened on this particular.
First, tell us who you are and a little bit about your background and the work you've been doing, because you've been struggling your whole life for social justice. One of the lines I really liked in your blog, let me see if I can find it real fast, that first line that describes yourself, a minister who's fighting for the poor against the corporations. What is that?
Well, it's what I've been doing. I'm fighting against fascism. That's really the whole thing. How they're trying to destroy the poor people, not only here in the city of Benton Harbor, but around the state and around this nation. The attack that we have right now is strictly dealing with stuff on this level. So that's what it's all about.
Okay, so tell us about your background. You're a reverend. You've been an activist, civil rights activist for pretty much your whole life.
Absolutely, and it all started in college when I was in school at West Texas State, and I developed a skill of trying to understand why people do certain things and why they don't do things, and I think that's what it all started for me, really in college. But I've been fighting this battle for so long, and making sure that we do protect the people who can't fight for themselves, you see. And, our challenge today must be to create discomfort in the house of the powerful and the nation, with or without violence, with an appeal for freedom, justice, equality, and understanding. There are too many poor people in a nation so wealthy today. We are not free. We are not equal. We have to expand the disparity gap between those who live in surplus and those who live in poverty. Well, they have expanded the gap. But my thing is this. For several years, the community has exercised their democratic right. Here, if you go out and do a recall on any of the elected officials that's a puppet for the corporation, they're going to send the sheriff out after you. First example is that this mayor we have, his name is Mayor James Hightower, but we call him Mayor James Lowtower. And he told us, he warned us. He said, if you do a recall on me, I'm going to use my resources to have you put in jail. Those exact words. Matter of fact, we got it on tape.
Really?
And yeah, exact words. He said it. And his resources are Whirlpool, who's he the puppet for. He worked the prosecutor office, the sheriff, and also the county clerk. They're all in one umbrella. They only have one job here. That job is to destroy this community any way they can and drive the people completely out. You see, so my fight has been going on for many years, trying to protect the people, stand up for people who won't fight for themselves or refuse to fight for themselves, and that's really what I do. I want to get into the stories because to me it's so important that people know, and then you can ask me all kind of questions once we get started, because on April the 24th, 2014, it was my wife's birthday, and I took her out for dinner. But before I can get to our destination, my phone was jumping off the hook. When I answered, the guy said, "Your house is surrounded. They got at least 30 to 40 officers and the SWAT team on your property. They're peeping in your windows, and they trying to find you." I said, "Me?" I said, "What they want?" They said they want you. I said, "What for?" They said, "You should know that better than we do." And I was in total shock to hear that they had done this. Look, they blocked off the streets. Nobody can get in, nobody can get out, nobody can leave their house. Now I didn't know at that time what they wanted, but with my wife and myself, we finished eating, and I went to my attorney's office, and he called the prosecutor, and the prosecutor informed him that they had a warrant for my arrest of 5 felonies of forgery on a recall petition. There is no law in reference to the dates on a recall petition, but they made up a law. They call it the Pinkney law now, and they charged me with 5 felonies, even though they knew I did not do it. But now I got to prove I didn't do it. Then they said I allow 6 people to sign the petition twice. It does say on there, if you knowingly let someone sign the petition twice, that's a misdemeanor charge. So they charged me with 6 misdemeanors. Now, who would normally let somebody sign the petition twice if both signatures become no good? That's a waste of your time and their time. So when my attorney informed them that I'll turn myself in that Monday, they said, absolutely not. They said, we're going to get him tonight. My attorney said, you won't get him tonight, but we'll come in the morning.
It was like a Friday night they were trying to get you?
Thursday night.
Yeah, to hold you over. So you'd be sitting there till Monday, right?
Right. That was the whole plan. So
you got a lot of friends over there, don't you, my friend?
Oh, they love me.
You made a lot of friends.
And listen, they love me here. The sheriff department. And look, here's what they did. They was driving up and down the street. Like, had that big truck that they have all the people in with the SWAT uniforms in.
Yeah.
They had that big thing going all over the city looking for my car. They saw a car that looked like my car, and they jumped out on this poor guy, and he told me that, man, they almost tried to shoot me because I got a car like yours. I said they weren't going to shoot. He said they looked like they was. I said okay. So
what kind of car do you have?
Pardon?
What kind of car do you have?
Oh, I have an old car, a 98 Mercury Mystique.
Okay, everybody, if you got a Mercury Mystique, put it away.
Yeah, hide that car, whatever you do, because they coming.
Yeah.
And they was driving up and down the street like maniacs, looking for me. Remember, this is a recall petition.
Yeah. So
the very next morning, my attorney and myself, I meet him at his office, and I get the escort. Like I'm the president of the United States. They escort me all the way into the courthouse. Pinkney done did something terrible. So I get in front of the judge. The judge goes on about 15, 20 minutes telling me that not only I'm the worst person there is in the whole wide world, that this was the worst crime he have ever heard of. He was so, he kept going. I kept saying, maybe I killed somebody, don't know it. I thought they were getting ready to bring a body out the back or something. And he kept saying that this is the worst crime I ever heard of. I never known anybody to do something so terrible. And remember now, you innocent until proven guilty. And in his case, he had already convicted me. Then he told me that he set bond at $30,000. Okay. And my attorney said, this is a recall petition. And he said, yeah, but this is one of the most heinous crimes I ever heard of. And then he goes on to say, now this is the killer part. He said, I cannot get on the internet. My wife cannot get on the internet. And I cannot have the internet in my house. He said, if my phone got internet, I got to have it cut off.
Really?
Unless I was going to be going to jail. Yeah. Those are his exact words. I could not have the internet. Nobody could even come to my house with the internet, according to him. Which was so ridiculous that, we knew that was a very serious constitutional violation. We knew what that was.
Go to a library and use the internet over there?
Couldn't do that.
Okay.
They didn't want me on the internet, period.
Okay.
And if I had internet in my home, I had to call and have it cut off.
But then you got that overturned, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was counting on me not being able to afford an attorney.
All right.
See, they knew how much money I had in the bank. They knew everything. See, they figured that you set the bond at $30,000. Now I got to put up at least $3,000 cash in order to get out.
All right.
You see, and they knew that I didn't have $3,000 in the bank. So they decided that that's what they'll set it at. But fortunately to me, the bondman happened to be an ally, and he got me out. The same matter of fact, I didn't even have to go behind the bars. All I did was have to wait for him to sign the papers to get me out.
Okay.
But anyway, listen to this. Then he put me out on 24/7. I was under arrest. I couldn't come out my house. I couldn't go in my garage. I couldn't do anything. And then they had a police car 24 hours patrolling my house. Even though I was on house arrest and I was on tether, the tether, and they were monitoring me from a satellite up in the sky. So they knew exactly where I was. I was the most notorious person you have ever met. And they go around, they trying to convince people, the newspaper, Pinkney in jail under house arrest. He cannot use the internet. He can't do nothing. They say that he's dangerous to society. Now remember, this is a recall petition. That's all it is. It's no more than a recall petition. And we get ourselves prepared for 30 days. 35 days I was under this. I couldn't leave or nothing. But then we had a protest of this Jack Nicklaus signature golf course that they just built here. For people that live here in the city of Benton Harbor now, 70% of the people that live in Benton Harbor are unemployed. 90% live below the poverty level. It costs almost $10,000 to become a member of this golf club. They built condominiums around this golf course. $250,000 started at $250,000. What they have done, they took all this land and now they're driving the people out. There was over 40,000 people living in Benton Harbor at one time. Now we got less than 10,000, which is so amazing when you think about it. Nobody would believe stuff that's going on here because it's amazing when you think about it. Here's one of the tricks that they did. First thing they did, they tripled the water bill.
Right.
Okay. And if your water get cut off, they condemn your house. Then they call DHS, Department of Human Service, to come in and take your children. And that was one of the tools that they used to drive the people out of the city of Benton Harbor. Then we got this emergency manager. I'm gonna take it as slow as I can so you can understand exactly what the emergency manager is.
Okay.
on the Public Act 72, the emergency manager had only the authority to deal with you financially. On the Public Act 4, it gave him absolute power over your elected officials. And he wasn't even elected. He was appointed by the governor to come here and give away land. That was his job. The first thing he did on the Public Act 4, he came to the city of Benton Harbor and took the mayor's desk and put it in the basement and told him he was in charge. Then he took the commissioner's keys to the office and told them they can't use that office anymore. But he made one mistake with these commissioners. He took their cell phone. And one thing you can't do, you can't take a black man's cell phone. You take his cell phone, you got a fight on your hand. So then, once they took their cell phones, they joined me.
Oh, really?
Yes, they joined me. I got, it's 8 commissioners and 6 of them joined me. So we had the majority. And what made it so amazing, I was teaching them how to fight back. And like I would have meetings once a month to get them organized, and anything that's on the table, even though they didn't have no power, they could still hold a meeting. So here's another thing that this guy, emergency manager, did. He told these commissioners, now these are elected officials, elected by the people. He told them that they can have a meeting, they can take minutes, then they have to end the meeting. That you're not allowed to vote on anything for the people. And then this guy, he has the power to tap any contract, like the police department, the fire department, the workers. What he did, he took the police department contract and the fire department contract and merged them together, which was a total disaster.
Well, let me ask a question. Don't the police and the fire department have a union where you are?
Yeah, but they have no power. Once the emergency manager comes in, it's a whole different world. Democracy no longer exists. And that's what we have now. We don't have what you call democracy anymore. We got rid of this one emergency manager because he thought he was bigger than Whirlpool. Now, they're working together, and $168,000 came up missing. See, he thought that the commissioners, the elected officials, was responsible for it. But he calls the FBI to come in. The FBI comes in and tells him that the commissioners do not touch money. A subdivision of Whirlpool is responsible for the $168,000. Whirlpool gets mad, and they go in a limousine. They take the former CEO of Whirlpool. They take the vice president of Whirlpool that's there. They take the mayor, this low tower character, and they took Albert Choker, the one who wrote the bill, for the emergency manager, and they went up and talked to the governor and said that the emergency manager had to go. And he found out the very next day that he was going to be being replaced, and he found out in the newspaper. So he's mad now. He's getting ready to blow the whistle on Whirlpool and everybody else. So he said that if he leaves there, he's blowing the whistle. So now you got a standoff. Here's what you got. He stayed a year after that, and they came up with something on him. $25,000 was misspent by him. So now he can leave in peace. He don't want to go to jail, and they don't want him to blow the whistle on him. So now he can leave in peace, and he probably get a job somewhere else. He haven't got one anywhere else yet, but he can. So then they bring in another emergency manager who started giving away this land. We got beachfront property. This beachfront property is so important that everybody want this beachfront property. Matter of fact, Whirlpool tried to buy a portion of Lake Michigan. You can't buy Lake Michigan. You can't do it. But they was trying to get the city of Benton Harbor to sell them a portion of Lake Michigan. You can't do it. It's so crazy that nobody could believe this stuff unless you live in here.
Let me ask you a quick question, because these sums of money don't sound like a lot. How many people live there in Benton Harbor?
We have less than 10,000 now.
Okay, well, yeah. So this is a tiny little city council and stuff like that. It seems like you're pretty well organized. Why can't you get in there and take over? It's because of this manager guy?
Well, absolutely, because now he has absolute power. The elected officials really have no power. Only person who actually have power is the mayor. And that's only in the title, mayor. See, if you say that the mayor supports something, most people will believe that that's the community. When he signs something, which, anything that actually go through, he still got to sign for it. And if he's not in their pocket, then he won't sign. So that's where we at with this mayor. We get rid of him, and that's another reason why they was fighting so hard to keep him. Because the election that we was having in May, he was losing 5 votes to 1. So they had to pull a rabbit out of the hat to stop it. And the rabbit they pulled was coming out after me, falsely accusing me of forging dates on a recall petition, which is really ridiculous. But it's not ridiculous unless you're able to fight them off.
Now, let me ask you this. How much time are you facing?
About 20 years.
Okay. So this is serious business.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it.
Right.
This is very serious business.
Well, before we get into more of the story, I want you to tell people what the name of your website is and how they can donate to your defense fund.
Absolutely. You can go to bhbanco.org. That's bhbanco.org. And I have a PayPal right there. Or you can mail a check to BANCO, BANCO, 1940 Union Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 49022. That's BANCO, 1940 Union Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 49022. You can call me at 269-925-0001. That's 269-925-0001.
But don't call during the show. And also,
that's right, absolutely not. Because Ed and myself will wring your neck. That's how we'll do that.
I love you. Listen, also too, the link to your blog, to your website, it's on the Opperman Report blog, and also to the address where people can mail a check to. It's all up there, and I'm going to be posting it all over Facebook for the next until the 27th, right up until your trial. Now, how many days do they expect this trial to be?
Probably, I'm going to say going to last a week, at least a week. Depends on. I don't believe that the only person that they're going to bring in is the clerk, the lieutenant from the sheriff's department, and the forensics guy. They're going to bring those guys in, and the people that the date was changed according to them, they're not bringing these people in because all of them said that they signed it on that date. I believe this, that they did sign it on that date, and that's why they refused to bring them into the courtroom. But we will find out exactly what's going on. But the key thing that they're hoping is to be an all-white jury that's motivated by something other than the truth. That's what they're counting on.
If there's only 10,000 people here in this town, what is the ratio white to black? What is the racial makeup?
Is 15%, 15.9% of the county is African American, and let's say you got about 79% Caucasian, and about maybe 2-3% Asian, and it goes on like that.
Right.
But the thing is that they count on this because most people now, Whirlpool is the biggest employer here. They have over 4,000 people working. Less than 0.5% of the people that work for Whirlpool live in Benton Harbor. And even though the home office is located in Benton Harbor, less than 0.5% of the 4,000 people come from the city of Benton Harbor. Less. It's shameful and it's disgraceful.
Let me ask a couple more questions about the trial. Now
Okay.
you said that they were having a forensic expert come in to testify about what?
What he's going to say is that 2 different inks was used.
Okay.
And so, but he can't say whether the person that actually signed it used 2 different pens. He can't say that. He can't say when it was changed. He can't say, only thing he can say, two different inks was used. That's all he can say.
Okay, I used to work in an office that the guy who ran the office, he was, I'm a private investigator, I don't know if you knew, and he was a handwriting examiner, forensics handwriting expert. He used to testify in courts in big cases. And one thing I know for a fact is that you're right, they cannot prove. They can prove you used 2 different pens. They can't date it. But, a lot of people, you're signing something, the pen runs out of ink or whatever, you don't like the way that it feels, you put it down, you pick up another pen. That happens every day in all of our homes and offices.
Absolutely.
Nothing nefarious about that.
You're right. But here they saw an opportunity. Yeah. It was the recall petition that I circulated. Matter of fact, I circulated 33 petitions, and they chose 5 of the petitions that I said, even though the people told them that they had signed it and they used and they spent, because it was in the wintertime. But yet still they still charged me, even though the person told them that they signed it and made the error themselves. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like I was explaining to them, I never talked to the police officer. Only thing they wanted to do with me is arrest me or kill me, one or the other. They figured either one, they would have been happy. But my thing was that let's see what happens. They already know for a fact that I didn't do it. But they was counting on me not being able to actually have an attorney. That was the whole deal.
Now, and also too, for your trial, you were saying off the air that you need to hire some experts, right? Well, what kind of experts?
Correct.
What are you looking for? Who do you need?
I really need a handwriting expert.
Okay, well, we've got a lot of people listen to this show that are in the business. Okay, so if someone's out there and you're nearby Minneapolis, not Minneapolis, where are you located?
Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Michigan. If you're near the Michigan area, yeah.
And let me tell you where it's at. It's 70 miles from Chicago.
Okay.
It's 170 miles from Detroit.
Okay, so if you're in that area, Chicago, you listen to the show, our friend here needs a handwriting expert, so if you can come forth and give us some time, I'll even post it in some groups I'm involved in, okay? And maybe we can get you a volunteer. Oh, no, brother, we're here to help you, okay? We're here to do what we can, trust me. Okay, we got about 5 minutes before I got to read some commercials. So what do you want to tell us? I know you're not short on breath. You're not short on telling the story.
Absolutely. Because
I love you.
See, the story even get better because here's what Whirlpool did. They got this golf course, right? And they don't want to buy water from the city of Benton Harbor. Here's the reason why. Because they don't want people to know that they have to pay. They don't pay water. They don't pay no water bills. They don't pay taxes. They don't pay nothing. But the water in this golf course, I think you need about 1 million gallons a day during the summer, something like that. What they did, they spliced into the water supply of the city of Benton Harbor. And here's how we found out about this. And we only got a few minutes so I can get this story in.
Yeah.
The pipe busted where they had spliced into the water supply. And the guy came out and told the news media that someone had spliced into the water supply and watering the golf course. He didn't say it was Whirlpool. He didn't say it was a Harbor Shore. He said somebody did it, and they've been using over 1 million gallons of water a day. And then because he couldn't say Whirlpool because they probably put him out of business. So he said, so it came to the conclusion that Whirlpool agreed to pay $172,000. So if they're willing to pay $172,000, it's obvious that they may have used almost $1 million worth of water.
Wait, now you're saying that Whirlpool pays no taxes over there either?
No taxes, no water bill, no nothing. Nothing. And then here's what they did to us. every time that they come to you for a tax break, and if you don't give it to them, they threaten to move.
Right.
But so this last time, we got them good. We was at the meeting, and the people showed up. They come and want a tax break, and we decided that if you decide that you want to move, the community will help you move. And it broke their heart. That's when they got angry. And they do so many things to the residents here in this city, and then they use the media. Now the corporate media is subject to. They put my face in the newspaper when I got arrested for 3 weeks on the front page. And then when I wasn't home, when the SWAT team came on the news that night, the first thing came out of their mouth that is Pinkney is on the run.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, they said Pinkney is on the run, and if anybody see him, tell him to turn himself in. I said, isn't this something? Look, they could have called me on the telephone, and I would have came in. That's how I feel about this. But unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with. But Whirlpool, they don't pay any taxes. They don't pay any water bill. And they always use the threat, we'll move out. And then if you have a mayor who comes in here and that's your puppet, he's going to talk about how bad we need Whirlpool. What for? They don't pay any taxes. They don't do anything here but take from the residents any way they can get it.
How do they treat their employees?
Well, when it comes to African Americans employees, it's the usual. I had to go there and talk to the vice president a couple of times about a couple of black employees that was there, and sit down and negotiate with them to get their job back. For any reason they can, they'll fire you if you're African American. You can, they do that. But now we're almost neutralizing on that level because now we're no longer just local. Now we're more national and international. You see, because what goes on like your show is probably more of an international show, and the word is getting out exactly who Whirlpool really is. You see, they gave them an award for saying they were one of the best companies to work for, one of these magazines. Well, that's because they paid them for it.
All right.
They actually paid them to get that award.
Okay, we'll be getting into more of that. Okay, I'm going to read some ads. We're here with the Reverend Edward Pinkney, and he's getting a raw deal. Okay, and this is the kind of guy that's devoted his life to fighting injustice and to fighting for social justice, for economic justice. And now they're dropping a hammer on him. He needs our help, and we need to support him. His website is www.bhbanco.org. And that's where you can find his PayPal button. But if you want to mail him a check, the address is up on the Opperman Report blog. It's called BANCO, B-A-N-C-O, 1940 Union Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 49022. And while you're at it, send a nasty letter over to Whirlpool and tell them we don't like what they're doing over there either. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? If you're looking for essential oils, stop by and check out Essentially Tammy on Facebook. She is Young Living Essential Oils independent distributor. These 100% therapeutic grade oils help support the body's natural functions. You can click on her website posted on Essentially Tammy, that's T-A-M-I, to see the current deals and check out the benefits of oils such as frankincense, joy, valor, thieves, panaway, and many more. Email jocatami@yahoo or call 352-239-8546. That's 352-239-8546. The New World Mexican Women. Okay, now these are our sponsors here. They got that beautiful book. You just have to Google New World Mexican Women. And they got that beautiful book that they've written about their men who've traveled to the United States to work as migrant workers. And these women down there in Guerrero, Mexico, they wrote these beautiful love letters to their men, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers, their sons, basically begging them to come back to Mexico to be with their loved ones. So at first the letters are written out in Spanish, handwritten, and you see pictures of these women and the men they love. Then it's translated into typewritten English. The second half of this book is teaching you how to make authentic Mexican jewelry, which is step by step, and they teach you how to do it. And also, too, you can contact these women at their website, New World Mexican Women. You just Google that. Again, the links are up on the blog. And if you want to get wholesale Mexican jewelry, you can work out a deal with them, hook up a deal. It supports the whole town down there. And they need our prayers. They need our support, especially because right now, the town where they live, Guerrero in Mexico, that state, is where those 42 students were kidnapped by the drug gang-linked police department. And it's a huge scandal going on down there. You'd think would be on the front page of the news here all over the place because the mayor and the police chief are on the run. They took over running and hiding all that kind of stuff. So these women need our support. Buy their book, New World Mexican Women, and support their jewelry making. Emailrevealer.com. That's my website. You need to locate somebody. You think your spouse is cheating on you, go to emailrevealer.com. You got a cyber stalking case. You need some kind of digital forensics, cell phone forensics, computer forensics. Go to emailrevealer.com and check us out and see what we can do for you. Good old Mike Gray, infinityhomeplans.com. Check out Infinity Home Plans and Design Services, your resource for 3D and 2D architectural services. They offer a multitude of products, including stock home plans, 2D digital drawing sets, 3D models, renderings, and more. That's Infinity Home Plans. Good old Mike Gray. He'll probably be calling into the after show because I see him in the chat room. You can support the Opperman Report with a PayPal donation, oppermanreport@gmail.com. We can always use your help. Pacific West Bamboo, 503-839-8126. The email address is demroots@oppermail.com. They're getting ready with a new line of bamboo flooring, veneers, laminates made from Guadawa bamboo, one of the world's strongest bamboos, grown, produced, and manufactured in Central America using only economically and environmentally friendly practices and standards. Now, Amanda, the owner of Pacific West Bamboo, is going to be on my daughter's radio show this Saturday afternoon. She has a fascinating life. Oh, no, she's not. No, we rebooked that. Sorry. We're going to come to that next week. We'll have her on. Okay? And then don't forget to support Paul Godet for Judge.com in Department L, Clark County, Nevada. And he's a great judge. Check him out. Voting has started here in Nevada, and the judge needs your support. But we're here tonight with Reverend Pinkney. On the run. Reverend Pinkney was on the run for a while, but he turned himself in. Now, Reverend, previous to this SWAT team surrounding your house, did you ever have any kind of previous convictions of any kind of violent crimes or anything that would cause them to
Nothing violent.
Okay.
But also, let me say this too. Before they built the signature Jack Nicklaus golf course, we did a recall of one of the commissioners. He was the head honcho. Okay. He had 6 votes in his pocket. And we recalled him and was successful. Well, here's what they thought. He had the largest family here in Benton Harbor, and he was backed by Whirlpool and their money. So they figured it was impossible to recall him. This was in 2005. They figured that nobody could recall this guy because he got the largest family. He's going to be using Whirlpool money. And we were successful at recall. Here's how we did it. We did it with the absentee ballot.
Okay.
And then here's what they said. They said either Reverend Pinkney is the smartest man that we have ever met, or he's a crook. And that process was so amazing. We was able to get him out of that seat, but then the judge put him back in the seat after he was recalled, saying the reason they put him back in the, not because there was not because that we did anything really wrong, because we won by over 50-something votes. And normally when you have the majority becomes the majority becomes the minority, and the minority becomes the majority, then you can put them back in the seat. They only found 3 votes that was tainted, and that was the chief of police, mother, father, and auntie. And they was with him. And so because they found that those 3 votes, they said because Reverend Pinkney was involved in this recall, that we're gonna overturn this election and put him back in his seat. Never before in the history of mankind have anything happened like that. But here's what they did. Then they charged me again with being in possession of an absentee ballot. Not that I changed the date on it, not that I changed the vote. they said I was in possession, which I never was, of an absentee ballot. And then what they did, they decided to charge me with 4 felonies. The first trial ended in a hung jury. I think it was something like 8-4, in my favor. The second trial, they convicted me. And then they put me on probation.
Well, not to interrupt you, but you were convicted of possession of an absentee ballot.
Right.
Of one absentee ballot.
Well, they said I was in possession of 4.
4, okay, 4, okay.
So that's 4 different charges, 4 felonies. So
really?
that's what I have on my record. That's their record, I should say. And here's what happened. They put me on probation. And I wrote an article in the People's Tribune about the judge, which I quoted Deuteronomy 28 starting with the 15th verse. And the judge said that Deuteronomy 28 starting with the 15th verse was a threat on his life, his wife's life, his children's life, and his children's life. And he sent me to prison for 3 to 10 years. And that's what was happening on that part.
Wait, one second. Now, you quoted the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
The judge did not like that.
No.
But the quote wasn't really about the judge claimed that he was targeted by that quote, and that same supposed victim of the crime convicted you.
That is correct.
How was that? How did they get away with that? Did you have a lawyer that time?
Yeah, I had 2 of the best lawyers in the world, but the judge made the final decision.
Yeah, but if the judge is the victim, how can the judge be prosecuting and sentencing it when he's the victim of the crime?
Well, that's one of the reasons why it was overturned.
Yeah.
Because he can't do that. You can't be both. You can't make this decision. They was out to get me. And they didn't care how they can do it. They figured like this. He'll probably be in jail a whole year and or at least 2 years before the appeal court hear about it. Then once you serve the time, then they don't want to hear. They think it's all right.
That was my next question. How long did you sit?
I was in the county jail for 7 months, and I spent 3.5 months inside the prison system. And while I was in the prison system, which is so important, I had the opportunity to run for U.S. representative of these United States. And it was the most interesting. And everywhere I went, the news media followed me. I would have 5 to 6 interviews every single day while I was in the prison system. Nobody wanted me. I was in 10 different prisons in a 3.5 month period of time. It was amazing, believe me. Nobody could believe anything like that. And then let me hit. I'm going to hit on the NAACP first, just for a second. But the ministers, after I quoted that scripture, and they sent me to prison, the ministers here in the city of Benton Harbor got together and gave this judge an award for sending me to prison. They was going around talking about how much they hated me.
Wait a second. Who gave him the award?
The ministers, the black ministers in this area. There was a couple of white ones with them, but they was mostly black ministers, maybe about 20 of them. They all got together and gave this judge an award for sending me to prison.
Really?
Yeah. See, the ministers was saying that Reverend Pinkney would never be back now. See, they thought that they had buried me forever. You see, but they only planted me. You see, when you bury somebody, you don't expect them to come back.
Right.
But when you plant them, you expect them to rise again. And I rose stronger than ever.
Well, amen to that, brother. Okay, amen. God bless you.
Right. And let me give you a little NAACP now.
Yeah.
It's NAACP. I became president of the NAACP down here. And every time something went on, we'll picket the place. We was picketing Whirlpool. Whirlpool called the NAACP president, the state president, and told the state president that they wanted to support the NAACP financially, but they would not support the NAACP under Reverend Pinkney leadership. So you have to figure out a way how you going to get rid of Reverend Pinkney. So here's what they did. They came up and said we didn't have a meeting. We was having 3-4 meetings every month. And we had the minutes to prove it. So they couldn't do that. Then they tried to say we didn't have election. They had the election in their files. Now what they tried to do, they tried to sneak and have an election without me. Whirlpool went out. We had about 200 members. Whirlpool went out and purchased 300 memberships. The only criteria was that they get a free membership as long as they vote against Reverend Pinkney.
Right.
So they figured that may not work because a lot of people like Reverend Pinkney around here. So what they did, they called the police department, the sheriff department, and they locked me out and my people. And we couldn't go in. This was the NAACP had partnership with Whirlpool to stop me from being the president of that place, of the NAACP. And but here's what I did. I went out and got over 10,000 people to burn the NAACP card. And we labeled the movement Burn, Baby, Burn. It was, it went all over the country. People, they had an NAACP card, they were burning.
Right.
And it also, some people say, and here's what's also important too. I went to Washington, D.C. and Baltimore and picketed the national office. And one of the news media picked up the protest and said this is one of the worst days in the history of the NAACP. He said normally they're out here picketing people, but Reverend Pinkney and his group is now picketing the NAACP.
That really is sad. And I know that Cynthia McKinney, who's a guest on this show, she's a friend of the show. She's helped me behind the scenes as well. Has come out to support you. Has she burned her card as well?
So could you repeat that?
Cynthia McKinney, did she burn her card?
I don't know, but there was so many people burned them that I couldn't trust them to burn them themselves. They were mailing them to me, and I would go in my garage and make a video of it burning their card. But Cynthia McKinney is a strong supporter of mine. I love her. I just talked to her last week, and we was working on John Conyers coming here to support me. He agreed to come here and support me and never showed up.
Ah, that's a shame. Now, were you ever charged with arson for burning those cards? Not yet. I should give the idea.
Yeah, be careful what you say.
Sorry.
Look, they could be knocking on my door any minute now saying, we know that you set a fire in your garage, but you got the videotape of it.
Yeah. Okay, man, I tell you got a great attitude. I tell you, you got a great attitude. Now, what about anybody? The usual guys like Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton. Any help from them? Reverend Herbert Daughtry or anybody?
Absolutely not. One of the things that Jesse have done, he came here in 2003 when we had the uprising. When the young man Terrence Sherm, we call him T-shirt. He was bumped by a police officer car, and it knocked him into this building and broke his neck. And the two white police officers gave each other a high five.
Okay.
Jesse came here because it was on TV. It was like, it wasn't really like they said it was. It was one house burning, and they were showing different angles of the house that was burning. And it brought it to CNN and all the news people, and that brings Jesse out automatically. So he came here and went straight to Whirlpool, and we said we don't have any evidence to support this. We said that he picked up a check for $50,000, and then he tried to redirect our movement that we was going about, and we wouldn't let him.
Right.
So that chased him out of here. Then he brought in Al Sharpton. He called for a meeting of the ministers. And only about 20 ministers showed up with no people. So he left. So they have not been back here. You can't count on them to come in not in a movie. You never count on a Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or the Urban League to come in and support you when you have an issue concerning the corporation.
Right.
See. They'll never come in and support you on that level because they know who butter they bread. And they know that if we know who butter they So we don't even call them because we know if they come here, they're gonna try to neutralize us.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I knew Al Sharpton from New York City when I was involved in Lower East Side politics back in the 70s and 80s, and I believe I'm on those tapes. I think I'm on those FBI tapes, man. He was running around with that briefcase. I'm pretty sure I am. Now, who is supporting you, man? Who can we thank for helping out Reverend Pinkney?
You got Danny Glover, Cynthia McKinney, got the probably the whole city of Detroit, very, very supportive. Chicago, very, very supportive. California, very, very supportive. New York, matter of fact, I just left New York. I was there for several speaking engagements. And I really, really have a lot of support. But what I need more, is all right to support you, but you also need to have financial support.
Yeah.
I don't really get a lot of that, which I need more than anything else. Even before I got arrested, that was one of the Achilles heels. We didn't have really the money to fight with these people. We just had the manpower. We can out manpower you, but eventually you got to have resources. And I think that was one of our weaknesses. And this is what this court system is counting on. They're counting on me not having enough money to pay this attorney. Because this guy, he already, like I said, we done paid him enough money to stabilize him. But when I spoke with him on yesterday, he said he wanted $10,000 by October 27th.
Yeah.
And he said if we can wait on the rest, but I need $10,000. He said I got to have it because the trial is going, and he charged about $200 an hour, $250 an hour. So one day in the courtroom, you took a look at $2,000, and he's supposed to be working as we speak right now on my case, trying to figure out, reading the transcripts, trying to get everything in order. And I appreciate him because I'm going to stay on him to make sure he do the things that need to be done to help me win this case.
So once again, when is your radio show?
It's Sunday at 5 p.m. And my call-in number is 347-994-3644. That's 347-994-3644. And that's Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on blogtalkradio.com. Reverend Pinkney. It's the Pinkney to Pinkney show.
Pinkney to Pinkney. Is there another Pinkney on the show with you?
Well, there's one that comes on, Larry Pinkney. You might know him. He's from the Black Panther Party.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, really a great guy. Him, me, Cynthia. Ramsey Clark is also in support of me.
Okay, great.
He's supposed to be writing a letter to the judge, find out what's really going on here. He said because after reading all the stuff and he had discovered, he said this doesn't sound like a case that should be in court anyway. But ain't nothing he can do about that. You see, we still have to go to trial because they already set the date and they might drop it, but I don't see them dropping it because they see a golden opportunity of pinning my ears back.
Now I heard another thing too. I was reading that they haven't turned over discovery to you.
Well, here's what they according, there is no discovery other than what the forensics guy said. The only evidence that they got, which does not say anything about me, is that the forensics said that the dates on the petition, 2 different pens was used. That's what they're going by.
Well, and they're only going to give you 20 years for that, huh?
Yeah, they're only going to give me 20 years. And like I told them, the baddest part about the whole thing, I have to eat that food.
Oh, no. We're not going to let that happen, okay?
Absolutely. Ed, I tell you, I really, really appreciate it, and it's amazing. I want to say one more thing before we go, because I've been court watching for the last 15 years over there at that courthouse.
Okay.
And they had accused me of practicing law without a license. What I do, I give people spiritual advice. If you don't listen, you're going to end up in jail. A lot of times, they have sent people to jail here for no reason. There was a young man, they gave 45 years in prison claiming he had ecstasy pills that they never saw. Never saw any ecstasy pills. 45 years. They was trying this guy for murder.
Yeah.
Knowing that this guy didn't commit the murder, we went out and hired a private investigator. And the private investigator came back and said it would be impossible for this young man to have killed this person. Impossible. And on the day of the trial, they were trying to get him give him a plea bargain. They were willing to give him 10 years, knowing that he didn't do it. And when he didn't accept it, they dropped all the charges.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, how many guys would have took the 10 years?
Most.
Yeah.
I was at 9 out of 10. But we was encouraging him not to do it. His mother, I said, you tell them don't do this. They can't convict him on this because the private investigator he was going to testify on his behalf. And even his own appointed court attorney was telling him to take the 10 years.
Yeah, that's easy for them to say.
Yeah. You know, they don't have to do the time and eat that food.
Right. Oh, brother. Okay, man. Listen, God bless you, man. You know, we're going to have you in our prayers the 27th, October 27th, okay, starting
Absolutely.
at 8 a.m.
Listen,
yeah.
You got to bring me back so I can complete the other half of this story.
No, you're welcome. I'd like to fit you in sometime between now and even before then, try and give you another little love bomb there with the money bomb, you know, my friend?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's try and do that before you. This show's going on iHeartRadio, so we're going to have a lot of listeners to this show here, and we really need to support the Reverend Pinkney here. His website is bhbanco.org, and there's a PayPal button on there, and you really got to support the Reverend. And you can mail him a check at BANCO, BANCO, 1940 Union Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 49022. All these links are up on the Opperman Report blog. And you don't have like a book or something you're selling, do you?
Well, I have a little small thing like this that we put out. It's you get it. We send it to you for $5, and it tells you all about Benton Harbor. Okay.
All right, that's a good way to support the Reverend here. You can buy this book and you get something in your hand for $5. It's nothing. How do they get that? Go to your website?
Or either they can write me and I'll mail it to them.
There you go. Or you can even write to us, send us an email, and we'll get it to the Reverend here. We'll do everything we can to support him. We got about 3 or 4 minutes. You got a quick story for us about something encouraging?
Absolutely. One of the things that I want people to know that, you know, nobody is going to give you freedom unless you're able to take it. Nobody is going to give you justice unless you're able to take it. Nobody is going to give you equality unless you're able to take it. All down through history, you will find out that there's never ever going to be a change without a conflict. So we have to make sure that we're doing the right thing. It's more of us than them.
Right.
It's more of us than them. And that's the weapon that I use here in the community. When I talk to people, I explain to them there's more of us. If we stick together, black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Chinese, all of us, we're one. We're not divided. See, and they try to figure out a way how to neutralize us. Here's something I want people to know too. In all these communities now, they're bringing in this military equipment. In a small town like Benton Harbor, we got 8 tanks. 8. But like I told them, we can stop them.
So there's you got 10,000 citizens and 8 tanks.
8 tanks. 8 tanks. But my thing is this. They know that we're so divided that they can wipe us out, but if we stick together, we're going to win. And we're going to win this, Ed. I'm telling the people right now, we're going to win if we learn to stick together and fight together.
Well, it would seem to me that you'll win this case. You know, I cannot imagine that you're gonna get a conviction on this, man. And if the time wise, what could they even give you? I can't imagine they give you 20 years on these ballot nonsense. It's a
you know what, the prosecutor asked for the maximum amount of time. He said I wanted him to have the maximum. I would expect that. Because they figure I'm the leader of this resistance. You see, they figure if they get rid of me, scare everybody. See, remember this, when they sent the SWAT team to my house, it really wasn't for me. It was for the people in the community to intimidate them, because they know they're not going to intimidate me.
Right.
But it truly, and then you driving all over the city, going 50, 60 miles an hour down these little streets with this big thing that almost take up the whole street. You see what? They didn't even stop for stop sign. They went right through things. They was just that desperate to find me. I am glad that I went there. They only missed me by about 15 minutes.
Well, Reverend, thank you so much for coming on. Okay, you're going to be in our prayers, like I said, and I really do thank you. And keep in touch with us, man. Yeah.
I will, and I'm gonna stay in touch with you. I'm gonna email you and let you know where everything stands. I go to court Monday. They pick the jury on Thursday. Monday morning, the trial begins on my birthday. So wish me a happy birthday, October 27th, with a major victory.
Happy birthday! When you turn 21, I'm gonna buy you a drink, man.
No, it's going down. Okay. All right now.
Thank you, Reverend Pinkney, man.
God bless. Take care now. Thank you for having me.
No, God bless you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, man, that was the good Reverend Pinkney, man, from Benton Harbor, Michigan, a town that seems to be run by Whirlpool. But that's the good Reverend there, fighting for you, fighting for me, his whole life, man. You got to see it. I had the picture up, the video of him while he was talking. Big giant smile on his face the whole time, and a man that fighting for our rights. Devoted his life to running a church and political activism. And when one of us is in trouble, we all need to get together and support our brothers in the struggle. It's the only way we're going to get anywhere doing all of this. Coming up, we have another guy, a young guy, coming up in the next hour, Derek. And his last name is a little tricky to pronounce. I think he's sensitive about it. Derek Revy. He is from Film the Police, Minneapolis. Oh, Derek Revies. Okay, I hope that's how I pronounce it, okay? But I'm going to ask him when he gets on. Film the Police, Minneapolis. And what he does is he films the police. He's one of those activist guys who's filming the police out there. And he had an incident, too, where the cops tried to take him down and were really on top of him there. And so we'll be with him for the next hour. And also, too, don't forget good old Mike Bluehair, who's from Film the Police Portland. He's trying to raise money to get back down to Ferguson. Okay, so we're going to take a quick little musical break so your host can have a nice little rest.